This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 64. Welcome to Comic Geek Speak, brought to you in conjunction with worldfamouscomics.com. Your spot on the internet for the best comic book and entertainment-related columns, contests, features, reviews, news, resources, and more. I'm Bryan Deemer.
I'm Adam Murdo.
I'm Matt.
I'm Jamie D.
I'm Peter Rios.
We are sexy bitches, yeah!
And another show. Another Monday, another show. This is
another Monday, another show.
Who wants to do the honors here?
It's your show.
It's not my show.
We just play here.
All right, I'll do the announcement.
Go ahead, do it.
We are very proud to announce that Comic Geek Speak has become the official comics podcast of the New York Comic Convention. Yeah! Which means that in the months as we approach the convention, we'll be bringing you exclusive interviews, and during the convention, we'll have some on-site interviews and other activities and things, and it's just going to be a really good time up until the convention. So if you are anywhere in striking distance of New York City, February
24th, 25th, 26th?
Well, it's the 25th and 26th that are open to the public.
Okay.
That Saturday and Sunday in February, get your ass to New York and go to this convention.
And we'll actually have a place for you to meet us. We won't have to figure out a place, I think.
Yeah, we're not exactly sure what our...
We'll be roving reporters?
Yeah, we might be. We're not sure, but... So hopefully, starting very soon, in the next week or so, a couple weeks, we might start bringing you some interesting tidbits about the convention and some interviews and stuff. So
sweet.
You can check out the website www.nycomiccon.com.
Sweet.
Yes, there you go.
Gross.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's not gross.
Yes.
Yes.
Idiot. Idiot.
Oh,
sorry,
Napoleon.
We just trumped our announcement with Napoleon.
Such an idiot.
It makes us laugh. We don't care if you guys are out there laughing or not.
It's hours of entertainment.
Hey, this one is... I don't remember who it was on the forum, but said this is the best line.
I caught you a delicious bass.
So you can enjoy that while you're thinking about it. So, that's our big announcement. We think it's big. You guys might be going, for you people on the West Coast, you're going, big friggin' deal. I'm not going to New York, but for the rest of us, it's very cool.
Yeah,
and you'll benefit from the interviews, so whether or not you're going to the convention is moot.
Yeah, I read that you guys had put a post on our private board, and I read that and I was like, oh my god, that is so cool. I was like jonesing today, so.
Yeah, it's going to be neat too because if you go to the website, they don't have much of their information yet. They'll release it, as they get it. But it's looking to be huge.
They're just the sponsors themselves. I mean, they were talking Marvel, DC, Diamond, Pocketbooks, Del Rey. It looked a lot like a lot of the people you saw out in San Diego. It looks like that's what they're aiming for in New York, which I thought was really neat. I mean, it looks like they're kind of going away from what Baltimore was, where Baltimore was more of a comic book show. This looks like more of a multimedia show.
Like
and those
San
are a lot
Diego,
of fun too. And those are a lot of fun. I'm sorry. I mean, I like them both.
Where would you say the New York ranks among the Comic Cons?
Well, we don't know. It's the first one.
Yeah, this is the first one.
Well, I mean, there used to be a New York Comic Con, but it canceled, like 10 years ago or something.
And they still do the Big Apple every once in a while. I see
but
that.
This is a new group of people starting a new convention. This will be the first one, and they want to make a splash with their first one. I mean, some of the names that I can't reveal yet are big names. So
it's at the Jacob Javits Center for those of you
which is a big ass place.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know how much room they have devoted to it, but that is a huge convention center.
That's usually where they have the big toy show each year at the Jacob
Javits
place convention center. So yeah, I'm thinking a big place. I've never been there. But
I was there once for an internet convention thing, and man, it was huge. Yeah. Again, I don't know how much of this floor they'll open up to it, but if it was as big as as this other convention I was at, it was huge.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Like half of San Diego, or 3/4 or 2/3, or 60% of San Diego or something like
Yeah.
that. So it's still pretty damn big.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah.
It'll be our first stop on the 2006 CGS convention tour.
That's right.
So come out, meet us.
We're going to have...
Do we want to?
yeah.
Go ahead. All right.
Yeah.
We're going to actually make up T-shirts, kind of like concert-style T-shirts that are going to have all the conventions that we're going to go to next year with the dates. New York, Wizard World Philly, definitely Baltimore again.
Baltimore,
Heroes Con, and San Diego.
San Diego, and we don't know what else.
There
yet
might be
exactly.
one or yeah.
but
And it may not
probably-
be all of us. Like maybe at San Diego, maybe not all of us will go. But I mean, somebody will have a presence at each one. So maybe not as big as what we're going to do in New York, but we'll be there.
Yeah.
So, and we'll give those out. They'll
And those
only
will be
for sale.
only be available at the conventions. So if you want one of those special collector's items, you got to get your ass to a convention.
But I'll sell mine on eBay. So don't
Meanwhile, we haven't even made one up yet. to
That's
see what
right.
it
It's
looks
all in
like.
our heads. So
they probably suck. So
You'll-
you maybe not want one.
you'll get to the convention and be like, "Where's my shirt?" And we'll just write on a white T-shirt with a black magic marker,
World
CGS. That's right.
So,
The S will be backwards.
That's right.
that's gonna be fun. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of fun.
So a reminder for our October Book of the Month Club selection is the Marvel Essentials Tomb of Dracula Volume 1, which, if you would like, you can get at InStockTrades.com for 40% off. And now we had a few people, and I want to get this out in the air right now. We had a few people on the message board that when we announced it, they were like, "Come on, you want us to read that old 70s stuff? What the heck, blah blah blah." It's like, listen, it's not X-Men. It's not something you're used to reading, which is half of the objective of Book of the Month, is to get you to read something that maybe you wouldn't ordinarily read.
Yep.
Sometimes it's going to be obvious, like Crisis, and one day we'll do Watchmen, and of course, everybody reads Watchmen. But sometimes, like Walking Dead, like Fables, it's not something that everyone reads. And this is one of those cases. I never read it. I just read the first issue last night. So far, so good. And everyone tells me the first issue is sucky compared to once you get to issue 7 when Marv Wolfman starts writing it. So, try it. It's cheap. The Gene Colan artwork is gorgeous. Just, read it. It's different. It may not be the favorite book you ever read, but I think you'll find that it's interesting. At the time, it was a huge success. Hell, there are 4 volumes of Essentials.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of comics. So, just check it out.
I think you have some early. I'm sorry, Matt.
I was just wondering, how many issues does the first one cover?
20.
It's 25 issues
Yeah.
of Tomb of Dracula itself, plus
A
an
Werewolf
issue
by
of Werewolf
Night.
by Night, and giant-sized chillers, #1.
Okay, so those of you who happen to be Blade fans, this will include the first appearance of that
Yes,
character in
correct.
issue 10, so check that out.
And
Have you read that, Matt? Have you read Tomb of Dracula?
That's Adam.
That's
That's
Adam.
Oh, I mean, Adam.
There.
Sorry.
They look so much alike.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're practically twins. Yeah,
We're like Starsky and Hutch over here.
yeah, I have issue number 10. I found that
okay.
at a bargain bin at a flea market a while ago, but that's the only one I have, but it was good. Yeah, it's sort of like he's all pimped out, and it's like a blaxploitation vampire hunter sort of thing, but it's fun.
Yeah. Just because you're more. Are you more of a DC guy, right?
I started off as a Marvel zombie, but I sort of
Oh,
gravitated to DC over the years.
Agitated?
Agitated.
Cragitated.
Yeah, that too.
That's freaking swear, man.
I must say, after like a whole bunch of trepidation on, like Brian was saying about, oh, come on, pick another one. I'm seeing a lot of there's now a thread called Tomb of Dracula Progress,
Right, exactly.
and everybody's coming on saying I'm liking it. I'm surprised. It's and that's what Book of the Month Club is about. We want you to try something new that you haven't tried, and it looks,
Yeah, I mean, we're never going to recommend something that's blatantly awful.
Mhm.
Like, that's not the objective. I mean, again, you might not think it's the best book,
yeah, you might not agree with us that we
but it's
you
probably
love it, but
it's not going to be.
Identity disc.
Yeah, it's
And
never.
if you don't agree, send it an email telling
Yeah.
us why you don't.
Right. Oh, and
enjoy
this
it.
also let's let this serve as a reminder that as you read it, send in your emails or your audio geeks of the day or whatever, or your audio comments about it, so that when we do the episode, we can play your sound clips and read your emails that cover specifically that, because we want content for those episodes.
and just not it sucks. We want say
Right,
why
why?
you thought it sucked, why you didn't like it.
It's
We're
like a
not
homework project.
we're not afraid of people disagreeing with us. We'd like to hear some of you.
There are two like fringe things. If you want to like keep with the whole Tomb of Dracula thing, back issue number what was the one you just brought in?
I think, the Halloween issue
has a huge article on Tomb of Dracula and also Swamp Thing and some other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And they just posted on the forum that this past Wednesday, Bart Simpson's Treehouse of Horror number 11 has a short story with Marv Wolfman, Gene Colan, and another short story with Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson. Wrightson, sorry. So it's cool. It's like, we're getting bombarded with all this Tomb of Dracula kind of stuff.
And the title of the Marv Wolfman, Gene Colan is the Sub-Basement of Dracula with Mr. Burns' Dracula. So,
and of course we got that whole ball started.
That's right. It was all because of us.
Yes.
And for those new people out there, or for people who haven't been listening for a long while, Adam Murdo has been on our show before, and he actually called in just a couple episodes ago, or maybe last
week.
Yeah. So for those of you who are wondering,
his name.
Yeah, I just can't remember his name. They're probably like, who's Adam? He's been around, and he's here on break for college.
Gross.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Okay.
All right.
Our next big announcements.
Oh, you know what we didn't do?
I know. I just realized.
We'll
save it for the next one.
Next. These poor bastards are hanging on for 2 months now. We're going to announce the winner of our September contest.
October contest.
No.
Or September contest. Yeah. Okay, right.
Which we're announcing in October?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
We're all discombobulated.
Here, this is very appropriate.
Idiot!
We need one of those calendar things so we know when things are.
This is the picture contest.
This was the picture contest, and all the entries came in at the very end, but I think once people got an idea of what we were looking for, then they were quick to go out and get some.
You lazy bastards.
Yeah, don't get used to us extending contests in the future, Like we just
happened because I was away, and we couldn't do any podcasts until I got back, so we might as well keep it going for 6 more days, but... All right, so we have a total of, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, like 10 entries. And they were all pretty good. So how do we want to do this? We just want to announce the winner and then just talk about the ones that are runner-up? Or
yeah, because they can't see it. They'll have to go to our site to look
if you go to comicgeekspeak.com and then click on the contest banner, you'll see all the entries. And
the winner is
dun, 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 dun.
Randy Dixon, who sent in the Legion entry. He's got a picture of as a sign. It was Legion Court, I think, and but he has court covered up by the Comic Geek Speak sign. It's he and his wife dressed up as 2 figures from Legion.
It's Ultra Boy. He's dressed as Ultra Boy, and she's dressed as Light Lass.
Yes. And he's got a Legion ring on and everything. And he said, his wife doesn't read comics and has no idea what this is about, but she was willing to dress up for me and let me take the pictures, so that's worth it. He also says that the construction workers in the area were very amused by the 2 middle-aged folk dressed in strange clothes taking a picture of themselves in front of a street sign with a placard taped to it. So he gets points just for having to deal with the onlooking construction workers. But I mean, he and his wife both dressed up, so they got mega points for the props part of the contest, and it put it over the top. Now, some of our other, a close second was...
well, and we should say that he will win either Alter Ego or Back Issue, a subscription to either of those magazines, courtesy of Two Morals Publishing. So he'll have his choice. So once you hear this, send us your email, or somehow we'll get in contact with you.
Yeah, send us an email with your address, your mailing address, and which magazine you would like to get a subscription to. A very close second place was Maxim Glory from our forum with the Green Lantern Motel,
That was a close second, only because it's how lucky is he to live near a place that says Green Lantern Motel.
Well, that and the fact he looks like Jon Stewart from the cartoon series too.
And actually, I asked the people on the forum to vote for their favorite, in case we had a tie here and we needed a tiebreaker. But a lot of people, and is a great one too, is Danny Brunell with Lois Lane. I mean, that's a find too. You know?
Yeah.
And he's got, CGS's frickin' swear on his sign, which I think. Now, the best sign, the award for the best sign clearly goes to Brad Milo, who has the gigantic, huge poster board that says CGS Rocks, which is great. And he's Parker Road with a Spider-Man, inflatable Spider-Man. So that was a really good entry. That was our first entry. And when I got it, I thought, oh, here's a winner. I was all like thinking, hey, this is going to be it. And then the Legion one came in right after, and I went, ooh, Legion. That's.
I'll give a shout out to the guy who in front of the Ham one.
Yeah.
Because that's, you got to think about that one a little bit. It's Ham, and he's wearing a Batman shirt, and it's.
Oh no! As soon as I saw that, I knew exactly what it was.
Well, if you don't know, he's a scriptwriter, one of the scriptwriters of the Batman movies.
But he also wrote
like,
the Blind Justice and Detective,
right.
That 3-issue, which I actually have those issues.
Mm-hmm.
I do like his word balloon.
Yeah,
CGS.
that's cool. And the Kurt Groneveld, who sent in the Kirby one, this guy found out about us from listening to the tomorrow's episode with John Morrow. Because John sent an email to all people on his mailing list. He had never listened to our show. That was Monday. He heard about it, heard about the contest, came to the website, read about the contest, had an entry in by the 30th. So it only took him like 3 days to get an entry in. You other people had a whole stinking month. I still can't express my disappointment. You had 10 entries. We have thousands of listeners, and there are millions of street signs and building signs of creators and characters.
Like, these people can't just do a little Oracle action. Google, MapQuest.
That's what I did. There were 2 people on the message board complaining about it. They couldn't find anything Toronto.
Wow.
I typed Parker Road in Toronto, and up came Peter Parker, a doctor's office in Toronto. Bam, right there. And then I typed Parker Lane, and right in like downtown Toronto is Parker Lane. It's like, just go take a sign. Take a picture of the sign. Come on. It's not hard. So.
And that's our Geek of the Day. Thank you very much.
We just yelled at our listeners.
I know, I just scolded them.
You lazy bastards.
I hope their asses are red now from the whooping. We're giving free shit away. Come on.
Well, we got to thank everybody.
Kirby, how did you miss these guys?
Yeah.
You got to thank everybody that did enter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
including that incredibly good-looking bald guy on the top there. Yeah.
The one that I think that one of the best, the biggest creativity for prop definitely goes to Tyler Hilton. He's got Titan apparel or something he wants to say. And then he's got a green lizard toy on his shoulder being Beast Boy, which I thought was great. Yeah. Great use of a prop there. I really liked that one.
And Danny Brunell has his dad, right? That's his dad on the other, so on that
when he says watch children, and he's talking about Danny. Yeah,
watch men.
Oh, well, that could be. I didn't even think about
I think it's even on the sign, or he says it on the email or something like that.
I kind of like that Rax Unlimited one as well.
Well, yeah, that one was funny. He's holding up Danger Girl, and he's got a bra. He says, too, it's his brother's girlfriend's bra that he left at their house, or she left it at their house, and he got permission, but he said, this is a really busy street here, and all these cars are looking at him. Why is this guy holding up a bra, and what's going on? And
what cup size is that?
I don't know, but his brother's lucky.
I was looking at that, too, going, oh, my.
You would have won if you had your...
If you brother's
girlfriend on.
if we could have seen what those had been housing a few minutes before.
Just for context, you know?
Yes.
Just for a point of reference.
Yeah. So we knew what racks we were referring to.
Oh, my God.
Yes, we are pimping for porn. That's the whole thing.
The next contest is send us your naked female pictures. Send us your girlfriend.
I think Wizard actually tried something like that once.
Oh, crap.
Oh, Lordy. Oh, at least we break ourselves up.
See what happens? See what happens when we're not together? I mean, because Brian just came back from vacation. We haven't done a podcast in like a week. We're all nuts.
Dominic Williams too, with the Kent, I think it's the Kent Drive and Kent Way or whatever. Two Kents are intersecting.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty good find too.
They were all great. They
Yeah.
were all great, and making a decision wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't.
So,
Well, the easiest part was only 10 people entered, so.
Back to
We will
slapping
probably
down.
do another one of these contests, just exactly like this picture one, but it won't be for a while, But because
Yeah.
they're kind of fun, and maybe now that you've seen examples
Exactly.
of what we want, maybe we can get some more next time. So, but we'll let you know when that happens.
and Peter, you want to do the?
We posted on the forum. This was a unique contest because it just was for our forum members. So if you haven't joined the forum, make sure you do, because you never know when one of these might come up again. Where we asked for a letter column title. We came up with a solution for all the emails that we've been getting, and we're going to put up, just like in comic fashion, we're going to put up a letter column on our website, www.comicgeekspeak.com. And it'll be a place where we'll put emails up, and the speakers of Geek, those of us here, will be able to answer to it. Excuse me. So we had quite a number of entries, but the winner, just because of the uniqueness and it kind of blends into, it makes reference to the show and da-da-da-da-da. The winner is Quarters in the Jar by forum member One Bullet Short. So whoever that masked man is,
That's right.
send us your email with your name and your address. And did we
You must be a father.
did we agree with the prize that I
That's
mentioned?
cool with me.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
We didn't announce the prize. Because we just
We didn't
put the
really
costume.
know?
Yeah, we didn't know. We thought maybe we'd give away a T-shirt, but then we came up with an idea that his prize is he's gonna be a guest on the show via phone. So we'll call him up one day. We'll schedule it, and he'll actually get to sit here and chat with us. So One Bullet
Now that we
Short.
spent all that money on a nice phone mixer, we might as well
Yeah, we
use
got to
it.
use it.
If we don't take one telephone call every episode, it'll be wasted.
Please, God, let us need the relayer. Telephone relay. 'Cause how cool would that be?
Oh, stop. So One Bullet Short, you'll be a guest on our show, just to hang out with us, and so send us your email. Let us know who you are. Quarters in the Jar. And for anybody who's wondering what the hell does that mean, it's because we have the
You haven't been listening enough.
George Perez jar.
That only Peter donates to.
Yeah, really. That if anybody says his name wrong, we donate to the jar, and also it's during Stump the Rios if I get question wrongs, and it's all going to Comic Book Legal Defense.
Isn't it also the Ray Schraz?
Yeah,
penalty?
well, who knows what that...
Well, since we were saying it correctly to begin with, that's
Yeah.
We have some credit.
damn Scott Beatty.
So, cool. Congratulations.
Yeah, wow, I just blanked out there for a second. I didn't know what I was going to say. And
I
I
gotta-
still don't.
I got a couple things. We had our interview with Top Shelf not too long ago, or our review, I should say, of a whole bunch of Top Shelf stuff. And I made reference to that they almost went bankrupt, and I wasn't sure if it was them. It was them, because their publisher that publishes publishes all the trades and all the things that they did filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. This was back in 2002, and among the companies that were affected by it were Dark Horse, Image, Tokyo Pop, Drawn and Quarterly, Oni Press, Humanoids, Comics One, and Top Shelf. So they got like a check from this company for like $20,000, and it bounced, and they were like, "Oh my God," So they put a letter out online, just asking, if they said if 400 to 500 of you can find it in your hearts to each spend around $50 on our core list of books below, and they had this list, this would literally pull us through. We mean that. And they had this huge outpouring of supporters who just came out, and they actually made money and were able to stay in business because of it. So that was actually Top Shelf.
Hey, could we do that?
No.
If literally 500 of you
No.
buy our T-shirt.
No.
For
Who was
$50 each.
Who was that who did that on the TV? They asked, "Hey kid, if each of you send $1," and he got in big trouble for doing that.
It was
that?
Soupy Sales.
Soupy Sales.
Yep,
Yeah.
he told them to go into their parents' purses or
yeah.
wallets and send them each $1, and kids did. And he had to, send it all
Brilliant.
back.
So it was top shelf, and we're glad that they were able to stick around.
And just by coincidence, when I was looking through this month's previews, I noticed in the top shelf section that they relisted almost every book that we talked about. The King, Spiral Bound, and Tricked. I think those 3 are actually in this month's preview. So if any of them sounded interesting to you, you can order them.
Yeah, on our blog you can look at the show notes, and they're all linked right there on with episode. I guess it was like 62, I think, or something like that.
63, I believe.
Yeah, 63. Was it just the last one? Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Thank you, Napoleon.
What are we talking about this episode?
Smallville.
Oh, that's right.
What's that? What's Smallville? I have no idea. Never heard of it.
It was the idea that came after the idea of Bruce Wayne TV series.
Ah, okay.
So we're talking about the season opener. I know we're a little late, but the season opener of Smallville.
And we're not going to spoil it, so
Right.
if you have it TiVoed or something, it's safe to listen to, I guess.
So what do we think?
I thought it was one of the best episodes yet.
Anybody else?
I hated it, and I'm not kidding.
Anybody else?
I always find it a little annoying on this particular show how easily they just wipe away everything in the cliffhanger of the preceding season. It's just like snap of the fingers. Last season's opener was a little worse in that regard. This one was not quite as annoying that way.
I didn't think it was too bad. I thought it's probably one of their. Definitely wasn't a filler episode that irritates the hell out of me, but I thought it was pretty good.
Why? What were your personal?
My personal thing is it's now who on the show doesn't know Clark Kent and Superman. It's just now everybody knows, and I liked who found out in this episode, and I liked some of the things they did with it. But it's one of those, and I'm still watching the show. I'm still hoping that they bring me back, and they're going to justify doing in the end of the episode what they did at the end of the episode. But I'm also tired of that. It's been done before in the movies, what they're trying to do, and everybody says that was a bad movie when they did that. It's really hard because I can't really, just describe exactly what they did. But it's just, come on, I wanted to see him go in a different direction.
I kind of like how, well, that was a good example of this week's episode, but it seems as though they're trying to, with the spoilers I've seen for what's coming up, try to get away from the Freak of the Week type of thing and go to more of what the fans, if you've seen the episode, you know what I'm talking about, but what the fans are looking for as towards the villains that Clark should be going up.
I think the reason I liked it so much is because it was filled with Superman mythos stuff. Like, it just felt like I was watching Superman now instead of just a TV show, about some kid. And that's why I liked it so much.
Yeah, it's a little more than just a half-assed X-Files ripoff, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, I'll give you that, some of the mythos, but then they did away with it at the end. It was like, poof, they're gone, and now we're going on. And yeah, they can bring them back, and I understand that. I'm not stupid. I know that, that they were just setting stuff up. But still, I would have rather have seen a little far-reaching ramifications now. Give me something that, they're still around now instead of what they did with them. I mean, don't make it so happy not happy at the ending, but, they have the conflict, they have the resolution, and now next episode. Rather than that, I would have rather have seen a little more with the mythos of the Kryptonians coming to Earth, and that's not spoiling anything because we talked about that kind of at the end of last episode with the crashed ship. And you figured Kryptonians were coming out of it.
They do now.
Well, yeah. Well, you saw someone come out of it at the end of last season.
Spoiler.
Yeah, well, that's my job on this show. But it was just one of those, I got done with the episode and it's like, I don't like this direction, but I'm still going to hang on. I'm still hanging on.
I'll tell you what, I was a little irritated, and they did this with the season finale last year. What's with all the goddamn commercials? It's starting to get good, then all of a sudden, commercial break. Then they come back for 5 minutes,
I was going to say,
break.
the one commercial break was about 5 minutes long, I swear.
Well, the problem...
they front-load the show.
I was going to say, the problem is
they give you like
they're
15, 20 minutes with no break, and then they got to squeeze it in at the end.
Squeeze it in at the end, yeah.
I did geek out completely on a few things. One of them is very obvious when you watch it. The other one isn't, and it's no real big spoiler, but you see clips of this first Superman movie in the one scene.
Oh, you do? I missed
Yeah.
that.
You missed that?
I missed that.
You missed that?
Yeah,
Did you see
I
it?
didn't see that.
Oh.
I don't think you were watching the same episode.
Yes, I was.
He was watching the movie. He just never
There's a particular part in the episode where something is happening to Clark, where he's in a field. That's all, or like in an energy field. If you look in that energy field,
okay.
you see Kryptonians falling from the destruction of Krypton in the movie, and you see that stupid star-shaped ship that he crashes through the ceiling. You actually see that.
I was going to say that the wires crash through the ceiling.
Yeah,
if you watch
exactly.
The wires.
Those two things I saw because I was looking. I'm like, I totally got to geek out a little bit. So you have to look at if you have it on
I think
TV.
you were
look
geeking
back
out
on
doing
that.
something else.
No, it's there. I'm telling you.
Now, you know what and while we're on the topic of Superman, maybe you guys can help me out. I got one of the things I read some of while I was on my vacation was I read a handful of issues from the Showcase Superman. And other than being incredibly awful and almost impossible to read because it's so cheesy 50s lame, it's very difficult. But they showed the Fortress of Solitude, and it was not an ice sculpture thing that I was surprised. I mean, it was in the Arctic, but it wasn't like this ice thing. It was like a cave and with a steel door, and he has the super key. And it's so freaking lame. But what in the comics, was it ever an ice cave? That was just a 78 movie thing?
It was never a crystalline thing like that. It was always a cave, almost like the Bat Cave, but Superman's Fortress of Solitude with the big key and all that kind of stuff.
Oh. And then I read that also on vacation. I read the Geeks Gangsters, or Men of Tomorrow, Geeks Gangsters, and the Birth of the Comic Book by Gerard Jones. And I found out that the Fortress of Solitude was stolen from Doc Savage, which I didn't know. He had a Fortress of Solitude before Superman ever did. That was interesting.
And it actually came. I think the Fortress was the Fortress on the radio show first, or was that Kryptonite or Jimmy Olsen?
Kryptonite,
There were a lot of
definitely.
elements that actually were on the Superman radio show.
Kryptonite. They wrote Kryptonite. Siegel wrote Kryptonite first, but they didn't
never
use
used
it,
it?
and then
Okay.
it got resurrected in the show,
To
in
give
the
an
radio show, and then they allowed it into the comic books because
Okay.
his editor rejected it, and he was like, "What the hell?"
I knew there were certain
He
elements.
called it
that came
K Rock or something like that or something.
Yeah, they basically used it in the radio show as an excuse to give the Superman actor a week off. So it's like for a week's worth of episodes, there's just some guy moaning in the background, and that's supposed to be Superman under kryptonite radiation. And then when he came back and like renegotiated his salary and whatnot, then they got rid of the kryptonite. And
Oh, that's
But
funny.
you've got to read this book. I mean, let me tell you, that book should be required reading for anyone who considers themselves a serious comic book fan. It is chock full of history. It is so entertaining. You learn so much, and like this whole kryptonite thing. They didn't go into the reason why they used it on the show, but Siegel wrote the script. Wrote the plot for the issue of Superman. Editor said no. It went on the shelf with a whole bunch of Superman ideas, which then the radio show people got, and they looked through and said, "Hey, kryptonite, that sounds cool. We'll use that for whatever reason." And then it was in the mythos, and then they allowed it to be used in the comics.
So that's one of those 25 essential things
Facts.
every comic.
That's a good. There was a lot of that
See how
stuff.
you bring it back to continuity in the show as well.
Exactly. There's a lot of stuff in this book where I'm thinking, "Oh, I wish I knew that when we were talking about that," or whatever. It was.
Clark Kent is Superman.
I like this the Smallville episode. I kind of agree with Jamie a little bit that it was kind of the build up of the beginning of the episode. I thought they were going to it ended too fast for me. I thought the whole build up and then all of a sudden boom, the whole problem is done and the conflict is done. And
nice big fight would have been nice.
yeah, and I actually expected a little resolution to the whole Jor-El thing, but we didn't even get that either. And I'm like, oh, are we still going to go through with this all season again? It's like, all right.
The stuff, and I almost wish we had done this as a spoiler episode now, but the things that we were talking about the possibilities of Jor-El and stuff, ooh,
Right.
It's cool.
Yeah. But
What was this? You're talking about Kevin's theory on?
I don't know if
On
it's Kevin's
Jor-El?
theory. Is it Kevin's
it's
theory?
yeah, when we talked
I
about.
guess we can
the
mention
Jor-El.
Oh, so we can
theory.
mention it's a theory.
Yeah, it's a theory.
The theory is that Jor-El is actually Zod, and because the actor who does the voice is the guy who did the acting in the movie,
Terrence
Stamp. So, maybe they'll actually bring him back, and he'll end up being Zod,
Yeah,
masquerading as Jor-El.
Let's say you think about it, the things that Jor-El has been trying to tell Clark to do
Sound an awful lot like
sound
Zod.
an awful like somebody who wants to take over the world rather than a benevolent father who sent his son off to live on this planet.
Well, I even think if you look at the episode where Clark was able to flash back when Jor-El was on Earth, and you just see how his dad was with, the past Lana Lang. But, nothing like the way the voice is telling Clark, this is what you have to do. So,
Right.
I mean, that kind of supports, anything's possible. That's...
Plus, talk about a geek out moment. Bringing Terrence Stamp to
Come
be
on.
Zod.
And just
kneel
before Zod.
I just can't wait. They better goddamn do it.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility.
Oh, that's right. I was going to say something that might be a spoilerish, but...
Yeah.
And unfortunately for me, another thing is they look like they're going back and making Lana more of a part of the story, and I'm so effing tired of her.
Well,
I'm just so tired of her. But that's just me.
Nah, I'm tired of Chloe.
No, I want Chloe.
Yes, Chloe.
Give me Chloe over Lana
She's got a
any
pudgy
day
butt. It's
of
not
the
really trying.
week.
I'm with you on that one, Jamie.
Well, I mean, for purely a story point, I think the dynamic between the potential between Lois and Lana is greater than a potential, and it's obvious because they're related, between Lana and Chloe. Like if you're going to have like a triangle, the obvious triangle is Lois, Lana, Clark, and you're never going to get Chloe in that triangle, no matter how they force us to.
No,
think.
no,
You're
and
just
to
never
me-
going to get that.
And that's fine, but I like what they're doing, making her the best friend, and that's fine. That's
Yeah, now that
I agree.
Pete
Well,
Ross,
you
There's no
need
real.
this.
She's taking
romantic-
Pete Ross's,
And you need it
basically.
because when Pete left, I thought something in the show went away.
Yeah,
Clark needs someone to rely on and
confidant.
share his right. I mean,
other than his parents,
Right,
that
exactly.
know and that he can trust, that isn't gonna stab him in the back or betray him.
I almost wonder why, if they ever go, when we did that first season, maybe we should never have created the whole Chloe character. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like, regardless of
They
the
don't know what to do
potential.
with
Well, not even that. It's like, well, yeah, I guess, because they kind of wrote themselves into a corner, especially introducing Lana. I mean, Lois. Like the
Well,
Chloe character is very good
Uh-huh.
and serves a purpose. I understand that, but why?
Well, one thing I always thought was
weird.
interesting. I read it on a Peter David's board one time that he thought one of his theories was they were never going to show Lois Lane because if you remember when Lana went to work at the Daily Planet, she used Lois Lane's name as her pseudonym so that she earthquake. So that, I'm talking with my hands, so that she could write and be the undercover in-depth journalist that she wanted to be, saying that I have this cousin named Lois Lane, she'll never use it, and he just thought that was she would become Lois Lane, and then they could have their triangle without bringing in a third character. But that never came in.
Right, and then they brought the third character, and now we're like eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and it's kind of I don't like that part.
Somewhere I read that from the very first season, very first episode, they always knew somewhere down the line Lois was going to come into the show.
Did they say that?
Yeah, I read it. I think
the Weekly World News.
No,
The Onion?
It was on some of the. It might have been the Kryptonian spoiler website that I always check out. Something, but that the executive producers always knew from the day one that down the line she was going to make an appearance.
Huh.
But
Yeah, but I think what they did when they first started, they looked at the other popular shows of that genre of the young kids, and they always had a clique of friends. I mean, you can go with your Buffy, you can go with your Dawson Creek, you can go with all those characters. There was always more than just because it'd be kind of gay if it was just Pete and Clark hanging around with no girl in to throw a little perspective in there. And I never had any problem with the Chloe character. I always liked the Chloe character, but
she always just seemed kind of annoying at times. Like
no,
Clark,
and,
look
and
at
no,
me.
no, I don't think that I never saw that as her being annoying. Lana
is annoying
freaking
all the
annoying.
time.
She is
She's
freaking
hot.
high
then
maintenance.
then I can stand it.
She is so damn high maintenance, it isn't even funny. Chloe
Well,
is the
because
kind of
her
girl
only-
that's going to drink with you at the bar, yeah, but she's the kind of girl that's going to get down and dirty doing what you're going to be doing.
Just ask Jimmy, right?
Yeah, damn Jimmy Olsen,
Well,
banging my
Lana's-
would-be girlfriend.
Lana's only function on the show is a romantic interest. So
she's
that
just a
right there,
Yeah.
that you
Petulant
can't
little love
write
object. That's all she is.
right. So you can't write anything other than that. You can't give her the secret. Whereas I think,
She
I
should
th-
figure it
I-
out, I think.
yeah, I think she should. I think she should have already. I think he should have told her. You know, I don't know. It seems like all the cool story elements from the comics that they're able to do with Lana, with Lois, they now, they spread it between Lana, Pete, Chloe, and now Lois. It's like it just is kind of too much. I totally understand the whole Dawson Creek aspect of the show, but I think we've grown out of that, and it's not like I'm telling them that I think they should change it, because they can't. I totally understand why she's there. It's my own personal wishes.
Well, and again, I know we're not going to get into this week's episode. I'm not sure who saw. People
I
didn't
didn't
see
even
it.
I
watch
haven't
it
seen
yet.
it yet.
But
No, not yet.
just some things that happen. It's almost like, we know that Clark Kent's Superman. It's a secret, but just the way some of the storylines unfold, it's like, how stupid are the people in Smallville? Just going off of this episode from this week, how stupid are they when all of a sudden Superman appears in Metropolis after Clark goes to Metropolis, that they can't put two and two together and just some other story point. It just seems the secret aspect is almost completely blown out of the water every season. It gets worse and worse, and I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was just going to say earlier, I mean, regardless of whether or not Clark actually tells Lana his secret, I mean, it's sort of starting to strain credibility that she hasn't figured it out yet for herself. So either she's an idiot or the writing sucks, one or the other.
Well, look, he doesn't have glasses now, and all of a sudden later when he appears in Metropolis and meets Lois again, oh, you're wearing glasses, but you're not Superman?
Yeah, I don't know how they're. I mean, obviously they're never going to touch on that, but that's completely like, what? How are they going to do that? So yeah, but they're not going to touch on that. One of the big announcements that I read somewhere is that Tom Wopat is coming onto the show, so we're going to get
a lot of
Duke Boy reunion.
That's, I think, 3 or 4 episodes from now.
Is it?
His character's name is something Jennings. It's like Jack Jennings, to Waylon Jennings type of thing. But there's supposed to be some Dukes of Hazzard parts into it. A '69 Charger, and
Get the hell out.
no, he's best friends with Jonathan Kent.
That's funny.
All I want is Pa Kent sliding across the hood of a car. That's all I want to see. And I'll talk about a geek moment.
That's also supposed to be the same episode where you see Lois strip to go undercover to the strip club.
Yes. We're going to see Ma Kent and a little cut off Daisy Dukes.
One interesting, I just thought of another interesting fact that I learned in that book is when Jerry Siegel was in high school, he wrote for the school paper, and it was called The Torch, which is clearly why they selected The Torch. So that's a nice little throwback to the...
Well, Sullivan is Vince Sullivan. I assume Vince Sullivan was like an editor on the early Superman stuff, right? Anybody know that? I think it's
The
Vince
name sounds
Sullivan.
familiar.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly.
I don't remember.
And I kind of thought maybe that's why they gave Chloe Sullivan.
I kind of like how there's never been any reference to, was it Lana's aunt in the first season that met some guy and left, and ever since then she's lived with Chloe. Now since she's just living by herself, it's
It's kind of funny. She's just all alone for 4 years.
Yeah. Well,
No wonder she's so needy.
her aunt never stops by to see what's going on.
I guess when you run the Talon, you got the your little apartment upstairs.
Jimmy, what did you say? Talon?
Yeah,
Do the chickens have large talons?
I was hoping you would pick up on that. That's why I said it. That she can.
Let's hear that one more time.
Do the chickens have large talons?
I apologize. If you haven't seen this movie, it's not as funny, but it's...
breaks us the hell up.
Oh, my
That's
God.
well it is. But yeah, no, I know. I see exactly what you're talking about as far as Aunt whatever her name went away, and now she's suddenly gone.
Wasn't there a plot that Lana had a father?
Well, she found her father. She
Was that
found-
really his
Yeah,
her father?
yeah, that was her father, and then
He didn't have time for it.
that kind of
Wasn't
yeah.
she in jail? He was in jail or something.
No, he
Oh.
was. He used to work for, I think, Luther Corp, but they asked him to do something unethical,
And then he became like an environmentalist or
Yeah.
something.
making no money.
So it was basically worthless.
Well, I think what wound up happening, he had remarried, and his new wife didn't like him spending time with his
Yeah, he had a whole new family.
his actual daughter, and that kind of caused. I think if I remember correctly, Lana was something like, "I understand you need to be with your family now," and I don't know.
Because
apparently it wasn't that important.
She found out her father
Seems
wasn't
so.
her father and all that soap opera-y stuff.
It's almost like I was thinking how in the opening credits they kind of just no longer touched that whole Super Lana from last season where she was an ancestor. There's no mention of that anymore.
Thank God.
Loose threads on this thing are enough to sew a shirt with. They just make this shit up as they go, I swear.
Can we quote you on that?
Yes.
Put that on DVD season 5 on the box.
They make this shit up as they go along.
No, about the loose thread.
Enough loose threads to sew up a shirt.
That's funny.
Or a cape.
Hey, I like that. Let's go with it.
For those of you who are if this interests you,
What the hell are you saying?
What are you saying?
next Wednesday, which would be the let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
I think it's the 19th, October 19th. Is no,
No.
not the 19th.
What are you trying to
12th.
say?
The 12th. Thank you. Infinite Crisis #1.
Yeah!
Comes out next Wednesday.
Who does the
Or
alternate
this
cover?
Wednesday, I guess. George Perez
Okay.
and Jim Lee.
Oh,
I'm kidding. Jim Lee does the other
and
one.
what's that about?
It's about this guy called the Beyonder.
Oh, good.
He has
I
a Jerry curl.
I like the second story that he was in.
I just read those Uncanny X-Men from Secret Wars 2 and the whole Jerry Curl thing. It's
Yes.
ridiculous.
It's pretty
Doesn't
amazing.
he
that
have
big-
that, like that
Big
Elvis
Michael
type of-
Jackson
Yeah.
suit.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man has to teach him how to use the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they must have had some sort of like artistic meeting and said, all right, what kind of hair are we going to put on the Beyonder?
That was the style, baby. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
You have any emails we could do?
I got lots of emails.
You want to do some?
While you're looking at him, I just want to say I went to see Serenity, and I saw a couple of people on the forum wrote that they went. I thought it was kind of cool that one guy wrote and said he went and took his girlfriend to, and they both enjoyed it. And seems to be the consensus that it was a good movie. Everybody seemed to enjoy it. Fortunately, it didn't look like it did enough, and I doubt there's probably going to be a second one, really. It came in second to a movie that was already out a week before. Came in a strong second, but I knew
Do you
when
have
it,
any money figures? Like how much?
it's like
it
10
did?
million.
Okay.
And I knew we were in trouble. My friend Scott and I, who contributes on the show, went to see it at our local theater, and they stuck it in the smallest theater. The theater was about, truthfully, if I had seen it at my house on my big screen TV, it was only seemed to be slightly bigger. And
Which theater was that? Was that Wyomissing or the?
no, it was at the fairgrounds.
They have a small theater like that, a little small screen.
Yeah, it's not like that small. I'm exaggerating. It's regular size screen, but it's not like the super big or anything like that. It's a very small theater, maybe 150, 200 seats at most. And as soon as I saw us in that theater, I was like, oh shit. But, because usually when you see what theater they put in, that's what they think it's going to do, and they think they're going to.
Sure, right.
And I knew it was like, oh, they don't think this is going to do well, but it was pretty well packed. Unfortunately, there was a crappy copy of the movie. For the first 15 minutes, the sound went in and out a little bit, but it didn't take away from my enjoyment of it, and I loved it.
It was going in and out of digital, so you go stereo, digital, stereo, digital.
No, it was actually, you could see it was almost like there were gaps in the film, because the film would go light a little bit, and then the sound would go down and then come back up. Almost, I don't know. It wasn't like I was listening to it stereo for a second, then it'd go mono, then it'd go stereo. It was literally going down and then coming back up.
Oh, that's really odd.
Yeah, I thought so too. But
I can't even imagine what would cause that. I'm conjecturing as a projectionist of many years. That's why I'm taking it so seriously. You're all going, who the hell cares? And I'm trying to technically explain why the volume. I think the projectionist was up there just turning the knob. So the only thing it could be.
But anyway, it was definitely worth going to see, and hope you all went to see it and enjoyed it.
And I believe The Legend of Zorro comes out at the end of this month.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. There are a bunch of movies coming out that I'm really kind of looking forward to. The Zorro, Wallace and Gromit this week for anybody who loves the claymation animation. That's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
I just heard an interview on NPR with the guy who makes Stinking Bishop cheese. It's Wallace's favorite cheese or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's orders have gone up like tenfold, and the movie's not even out yet, all because he eats this stinking Bishop cheese. It's a real small place in England. They only make a couple, like 100 tons of cheese a year, which is not a lot compared to major cheese manufacturers ever. And so he's already like running out of cheese. It's like because of the movie.
I ran out of my cheese. I can't have my cheese.
The British are coming.
Okay, inside joke.
Totally. But still made you laugh.
It's funny, I'll tell you that.
It made me laugh. Huh. So, okay, that was enough of my vamping. Have you found something?
All right, here, I just picked one at random. I didn't go from the bottom of the list. I just picked one.
We don't have to. We have a letter column now, so we can
That's
pick
right.
out the best ones.
I don't have it yet.
excuse?
Not
we don't
quite.
have it yet.
This one's from Sean Knickerbocker. That's just kind of fun to say. Hey, guys, let me start off by saying your podcast is the first podcast I listen to when I update them. I just wanted to thank the crew for helping renew my interest in comic books.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jamie. Let's start from the beginning. It was 1996, and I began collecting comics. Boy, that makes me feel old, you know? Like,
I began, it makes you feel old.
I loved them. I loved them. My first issue was Generation X, issue 12. In hindsight, Generation X was an ass-awful comic, but it's the book that got me interested in the first place. I went into comics for about a year. I was so confused as to what I should read. I was 10, damn it, and I didn't know. I dabbled in the Spawn comics as well as Gen 13, much to my parents' dismay. After a year, I lost interest in comics. I couldn't find anything I really liked to read. Jump to spring 2004. By this time, I have established myself as a great cartoonist in my school. My guidance counselor approaches me and asks where I like to go to college. I said an art school, for animation, of course. I applied to several schools and was easily accepted to all of them. In my senior year, I took a graphic design course where we dabbled in some animation. I despised it. It was tedious. Kind of like this email. I looked at a career in animation and decided nobody really knows who the hell is a decent animator. If you did blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to find something interesting.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I'm just, for the audience to say.
Editorial comments.
Okay, at this point it was winter 2005, and I just began the idea of getting into comic books again. I picked up Wizard and started looking through it, read the articles, decided independent comics were the fit. I started off with Teenagers from Mars, which was an excellent book, and I moved to Flight Volume 1 and 2 and went deeper and deeper into indie. This summer I downloaded iTunes 4.9 and I searched for comics. I noticed yours, downloaded an episode, and even though it was mainstream stuff, mainly I loved it. I spent over $200 in July on comics you guys recommended.
Whoa.
And have finally discovered the superhero comics I love. Daredevil is my god. Ultimate Spidey is awesome. The new Green Lantern series, and Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder is the shiz. I am still in touch with my indie self, but I can now appreciate the mainstream comics because of you guys. I love John Romita Jr.'s artwork. I think Jim Lee is overrated. Bendis is a genius writer. Frank Miller is the best in the business, both as a writer and even more so as an artist. I am in love with Sin City. I feel like I'm a tool because I'm just getting all the Sin City books now, but I sure as hell wouldn't have been allowed to get them when I was 10. Probably not, and that's a good thing. My next purchase shall be all 3 Daredevil Frank Miller Visionaries, and you mentioned Bruznak, the letter, in your second fan mail episode. His wife reviewed my portfolio for Savannah College. She tore it apart, but that's her job. Thank you so much for all the insight. You guys are the radio version of Wizard Magazine. You guys are awesome, and I shall continue to listen. So
I want to ask. I'm asking the Hi-Fi 8-Ball, is Generation X an ass bad comic? It says, so it shall be.
except for the first couple issues
I liked
were
Generation X.
Chris Pacello.
I was
artwork.
surprised that he said that. Maybe it's because he was 10.
It was one of those that just never went anywhere. There was some really nice artwork, but it just never went anywhere.
I guess because it was different. When we were getting this glut of X books in the 90s, it kind of was a little different. It wasn't... I don't know. There's something I kind of liked about that.
I must say, I think he's the only person I heard that actually enjoyed the Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder book so far.
Hey, I read the first issue. I thought it was cool.
I just wasn't impressed.
Light on story, but he's got to build it up.
First issue was all right, which is I'm coming to agree. See, everybody kind of says they thought the first issues are right. I haven't read the second issue yet, but I haven't met one person yet who have read that second issue that liked it.
I think that's one that needs to be read as a whole. It's one that maybe they shouldn't have released monthly. Like maybe it'll work better as a complete story.
Yeah, and I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to go along for the ride.
Right.
Hell, if I went along for the ride for the Azzarello, Jim Lee Superman, I can go along the ride for this one.
Yeah. He talked about Green Lantern. Green Lantern was actually in number 3, I think it was actually in the top 10 for whatever month that came out, August or September or whatever. Green Lantern, no tie-in issue to anything that's going on to Infinite Crisis, no variant cover. Green Lantern number 3 in the top 10. Who would have ever thought that? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, obviously it's got great creators, Jeff Johns, Carlos Pacheco, but also, is it because of the character? The whole Hal Jordan character? I don't know.
I think it's all the Hector Hammond fans out there.
But it's a good
all
story.
All those Manhunter fans are really looking forward to it.
Yeah, Green Lantern is great. It's a great comic so far.
It's been interesting so far. I just want to see what happens when... Because if I remember correctly, last time it came out, it started out like gangbusters, and then it kind of just started going down, and they did the whole 50, and then all that. So I want to just see how they can... how they can maintain it, because we've already heard, I don't know if everybody's heard, but, the art team is leaving and within the next couple issues and all that kind of stuff. So let's see who they bring on.
Ethan Van Sciver's coming on, right?
No, he was leaving too, I thought.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. I was reading emails. What?
No, because Carlos Pacheco is leaving. I thought Ethan Van
Sciver,
Green Lantern.
No, he's leaving, but
what
I
is
thought
Pacheco going to do now?
I thought Van Sciver was going to leave too. Pacheco's doing something in Marvel, I thought. He was going back over to Marvel to do something, but I'm not 100% sure.
I just wish he would stay in a book for a long time so I could really just soak it in, because I think he's the best artist in comics right now.
So he could do a run.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they just bounce around these art teams like crazy.
4 or 5 issues isn't enough to appreciate what a guy can do for a character. I mean, his run on Fantastic Four, just so awesome.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that huge, but it was 12 or 15 issues or something, which was long enough. I get better than 5.
Yeah.
I mean, his Avengers Forever is amazing.
Oh my god.
I mean, I actually know his stuff from. He did X-Men for a while, Uncanny X-Men. I think it's Uncanny X-Men, and that was when he was just really starting to develop into the style that we would see in Avengers Forever. But I went back to look at it after Avengers Forever, and I was like, wow, even that was good. Yeah, that's right. I do remember that. That was really good,
He's so fluid and just... Everything is beautiful, that's... Oh.
Yeah.
And I keep wanting to ask, I don't know if I asked this before, I can't remember if I did or not. I'm just noticing the new art team on Marvel Team Up. This Paco Medina. I don't know what he did before, but the artwork is really nice. I was wondering if anybody in here remembers what he did before this.
He did... Keith Giffen's Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay.
And he did a couple issues there. I think he did a fill-in for something else too. I want to say he even did did he do a fill-in for Mark Waid on the Frightful Four when they came back? Like Marengo didn't do those issues. I think that was
Nope.
scared the hell out of me. I think that was Paco Medina too.
Okay,
he's cool. He's got a little bit of a...
Yeah, because I was like, wait a second... because I like the Scott Collins artwork, and then in the latest arc, it's been as Paco Medina, and I was like, wow, this stuff is really nice. I hadn't, it kind of came out of left field. I hadn't really known anything. I thought for a second it was like Angel Medina, and they just put Paco on, and I was like, no, because Angel Medina is a different artist.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Hamana?
I'm trying to think. He's not the same guy who did some Spawn stuff. That was Angel something.
Isn't that what you just said? Angel Medina.
Angel Medina.
Oh, you're saying Paco Medina. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Too busy futzing with the
Gross.
Napoleon.
I'm
Such an idiot.
Yeah.
What's that? Pictures of girls from Philly?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
All right, tangent.
That's the bottom one.
Tangent. They can't see. It's not a visual medium.
All right, next email from Paul Lagozzino in Adelaide, Australia. It says, hey guys, love your show. Keep it up. I was wondering if any of the panel had read the masterpiece that is Lone Wolf and Cub. I know that most of you are not much into manga, but for me it stands apart as probably the most epic and powerful story I've come across. And the black and white sketches and watercolors are simply superb. It was recommended to me by my local comic shop guy, and it took me by surprise because I'm not actually much of a manga fan. I'm more of a Daredevil. I'm a Marvel fanboy and a Daredevil fan in particular. Despite my Marvel bias, Lone Wolf is probably my number one read, followed closely by Daredevil Born Again and Daredevil Yellow. Anyway, I thought it would be cool to hear what you guys thought of it because I think it's frickin' swear. Cheers. And he's from Adelaide, Australia, and I actually met somebody when we were in France who was from Adelaide. So,
Well, bully for you.
yeah.
No, I love Lone Wolf and Cub.
Yeah, I never read the whole series, but I had some of the comics like way before Dark Horse was ever doing the reprints, and they actually had the
Well, he was talking about color, so he must have been talking either about
original,
the reprints
like,
or
comic
the
sized,
very original
like they were,
ones
like,
from
prestige format.
Yeah, there was
Those
from
are the
first
ones that I had. Yeah.
from First Comics. Yeah, those were all in color. Now the reprints from Dark Horse have been in black and white. But it's I agree. It's definitely a great series, one worth picking up when you can find it. It's I think 27 issues, 27 volumes. Now with Dark Horse, they did it in a small, very small digest. He was even smaller than the normal digest size, and it takes a little bit to get used to reading it that small, reading a book that small. But once you get used to it, it's some really nice stuff and some really nice pencils. I just wanted to make an announcement. Actually, by the time it'll be 2 days. This is going to air on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
By the time this when it airs 2 days later, all run out and get your copy of Gravity number 5. I happened to see it. I saw a certain mention of ours in it. It at the very end, there's a list of people who might be Gravity, and it lists a certain Bryan Deemer as be Gravity.
Yeah.
So pick that up, even if you don't buy it. Just look at it. It's on the very last page where there was a preview copy in our comic shop on Wednesday. I went over and looked at it, and I guess at the end somebody's looking through a database on who came from Wisconsin. Who's a freshman at the university, and right there it is, says Bryan Deemer.
That's like one of my ultimate geek out moments right now.
Little
I'm in a comic book.
Little Mike Norton shout out.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
cool.
So shout out to Mike Norton, and that will be there Wednesday. So I doubt a lot of, unfortunately, I doubt a lot of comic stores ordered a lot of those, but it seemed to be selling well.
Yeah, I have to obviously pick up one. I mean,
Marvel's going to be like, why did this sell out? Why did this issue sell out? It's all because of us.
Because of us.
I'd kind of think it would be neat if someone's listening to a CGS podcast, one of the
As they're
panels.
just happened to reading it or something?
Well,
I
like
see
in a
what you're saying.
future issue, it's somehow that would be mentioned. It'd
Yeah.
be kind of funny. But
It's cool.
sooner or later.
Yeah.
When the world domination is complete.
And and this month previews the Gravity Digest is available,
Okay.
and DCBS has a 50% off, so it's $4. So
Is that what it is? $4?
$4.
Wow.
can't beat that.
Yeah, considering I've bought like 2 issues and it was $4 or $6 or something
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. Yeah, I'm going to read this one email just because he says the title of his email is Listener Request. It's from Tony. He says, "Hey guys, I've been listening to your show for a while, and I think that you guys are really great and informative, but I hardly ever hear anything about indie comics. Is there a way that books published by Fantagraphics, Top Shelf, or Drawn and Quarterly could make their way onto your show?" So, if you've listened this far, hopefully you've listened to episode 63, which is all Top Shelf. So,
Right.
Tony, we fulfilled your request.
Just, in case we have to spell it out, most of us really don't read indies. That's why we don't mention them.
We're trying.
I'm trying to convert them, but it's not working.
This one, I love this guy's signature. He says, this is from Jefferson Workman in Spokane, Washington. He says, "First off, love the show. Been waiting for a forum like this for a long time. The episode about comics that people are not reading was great. Ordered the Gotham Central and Marvel team up right after listening to the show. What about the new Captain America? Ed Brubaker, Steve Epting, and Michael Lark have created a book that grabs me by the jewels every month and gives them a good twist, and I want more. Do any of you fine gentlemen read the title? And if so, do you feel like the book is getting looked over? The Ellis Iron Man is also great, but I think it suffers from an inconsistent shipping schedule. Long live long underwear."
That's funny.
That's great. Well, I don't know when this August 20th, had we done the Michael Lark episode then? I don't know, but if you listen
Yeah.
to the interview with Michael Lark, we talk about how we read Captain America and loved it. So,
Yep.
I think that says it all.
I guess we could mention that Bryan is working on our site. We have a section called episodes where it has all the episodes listed, and he's working to provide a search function on that episode, on that page. So you'll be able to, hopefully, if it's in the show notes, you'll be able to just punch in Brubaker Captain America, or maybe just Brubaker, and it'll come up. So that'll be cool when we actually get that.
Yeah, hopefully in like about a week or two, that'll be ready. Anything else we need to talk about?
Do you want to do a Stump the Reels just to break things up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do that.
I don't know how I forgot that. Let me quickly cue up the music here. Now that there's like no drama involved at all, but we gotta have it.
I know.
It's requirements.
Adam, you got my back on these just in case?
To the bitter end.
You probably won't need it on this one. This is the James Robinson edition.
Okay.
So you're probably covered. This one from Matt Kramer. Darth Kramer on the forum.
Is that Darth?
I figured since James Robinson is a favorite writer of the show, I'll try my hand at 3 questions centered around James's time spent with DC. Question number 1. In The Shade number 2, the Shade spends time in Paris during 1931. What false name did he give to his lover, Marguerite Croft, who happened to be a descendant of his rival family, the Ludlows?
Yeah, that's.
I'm afraid not.
Yeah, that's really specific. Yeah, I don't know.
Louis Fox.
Never really got that.
In Starman 1 Million, Ted Knight is visited by future Starman Faris Knight. What is the name of Faris's grandfather, who is a notable Starman himself?
Damn it.
Mary Tyler Moore.
Jack Mayhofer.
I wouldn't even have come up with Faris Knight itself, if that had been the question.
I don't know. Paris Knight.
Paris Hilton.
Nope.
Okay. It's Kale Knight.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, question number 3.
Jesus.
Gonna get stumped.
DC briefly tried its hand at Tangent Comics, which reimagined contemporary heroes. One of these books was reimagined by James Robinson. What was this book? How did the character's powers differ from the character we know, and which 2 existing characters were assisted in the book?
It's Green Lantern. She had a lantern that could raise the spirit of the dead, like if they had some story to tell. It was like an anthology type book.
Mm-hmm.
And what 2 characters? What? Hama? It's like
What 2 characters did she use her powers on? Let's put it that way.
One of them. I think it's like is it Black Hawk?
Captain Boomerang.
Captain Boomerang. That's right. Because it was. And then what was the other one?
I want to say King Faraday, who in the Tangent universe is an actual king that solves crimes and stuff.
There you go.
Okay. Captain Comet
What?
and King Faraday.
Uh-oh.
I think it's Captain. I
have
don't
no
know.
idea.
We'll have to check.
No, there was a king. There was a Captain Boomerang in there somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I
seeing
thought,
The images
maybe.
of boomerang-shaped planes flying around,
Right.
but
Well-
maybe that was just like a background thing.
Oh, you know what? It was Captain Comet because she goes to the statue, and he has like a flight suit and a helmet thing. I think it is. Yeah.
Idiot.
It's coming back to me now.
But we got the other ones, right? We got Green Lantern, and we got the whole spirit wielding thing, and the lantern.
Do the chickens have large talons?
I guess he told us.
So random.
I just... I'm so sorry. Everything I look on that is just funny to me.
Except for those breasts that were on that corner.
Is that right?
Huh?
Am I right?
Well, yeah.
Oh,
The
okay.
Green Lantern raised the power
Yeah.
from the dead. Yeah, that part was all right. So you got 1 out of 3. You saved
Yeah.
your ass at the very end.
That was rough.
Just
Yeah,
50
it's so
cents?
specific, those names. 50 cents, yeah.
50 Cent.
50 cents. How about we do Comic Geek Speak countdown to Infinite Crisis since we only have, since it's coming out next Wednesday.
Sweet.
And feel free to chime in over there, Adam. The first one we're going to talk about is Genesis. We'll talk about
Go
this.
for it.
We'll talk about this in about a minute.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
when I think
I
of
thought-
pointless crossover events, this is one of the first ones that comes to
Here,
mind.
how about this?
Yeah, but I mean-
Napoleon can say it all.
It's a piece of crap. It doesn't work.
No, I just love Tony Banks and Phil Collins and Mike Rutherford. That's all.
Oh, jeez. We waited for that joke?
Well, I wasn't interrupted. I wasn't the one doing the Napoleon stuff.
No Peter Gabriel?
No, I never liked Peter Gabriel.
It was a 4-issue miniseries in 1997. Gorgeous Alan Davis covers. It was an attempt to, kind of like what they did with Invasion and the Metagene, it was like an attempt to explain why there are superheroes on the Earth, and because of the whole Jack Kirby New Gods War, that this wave went out, this Genesis wave went out and bounced back on the edge of the universe and came back and swiped over the Earth and planted the seeds for superhumans, and then now it was coming back, and it was... oh, I thought you were going to say something smart.
No, I was just going to... Is that when they start to say that Oliver Queen might have been a meta?
Yeah, they did
So that's why he was so
Deathstroke was a
great.
metahuman. It was like... It was a way to explain something that, you don't need to explain superpowers. Superpowers is just a part of comics.
Metachlorians.
Yeah, exactly. It's a whole metagene, metachlorian thing. So it totally tanked.
Idiot.
It was 4 issues, like I said. It crossed over in a whole bunch of... They were supposed to be like... People were supposed to get new powers and yada, yada. And nothing really happened. Trying to get... Here it is. John Byrne, Ron Wagner, and Joseph Rubinstein with covers by Alan Davis and Mark Farmer. Darkseid was behind the whole thing. Yeah. That was Genesis.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't that was the end of that? That was when they put Darkseid and Highfather into the source wall and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So it was almost, pardon me, it was almost because Byrne at that time was writing the Jack Kirby Fourth World books, and to me, when I was reading, that was just an excuse for a big crossover to do some things that would last in his books, and really that's...
Yeah, those books didn't even last.
No, I was going to say they didn't last that long either, but I didn't hate it quite as much as everybody else did, but it definitely wasn't... I wouldn't recommend going out and getting it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, to give you an idea, the most memorable thing about it, to me anyway, was that it was the first appearance in post-Zero Hour continuity of Light Lass. There was Lightning Lass, and then her powers changed because of this crossover to light powers, like making things lighter. And that's a pretty lame thing to be the most memorable thing about a crossover, so that should give you an idea.
Okay, and then we talked about DC 1 Million a couple episodes ago. We got, in 1999, Day of Judgment. This September, hell freezes over. Yeah, and this one, we talked about Final Night being the sole reason for Final Night was to redeem Hal Jordan as Parallax. Well, the whole thing was just to make Hal Jordan Spectre.
Yep.
Gross.
It did bring back Blue Devil though, which was kind of cool.
Yep, for the second time.
Yeah. Day of Judgment was 5 issues. It was Jeff Johns.
It sure was, and I bet he'd like to take this one back.
I thought he had a writing partner. Was it Ben Rabe or no?
I don't think he did have a writing partner on this. I just reread this earlier this week by coincidence, and so I think it was just him.
And the art is by, damn it,
Jeff Smith, some generic name.
Not Matt Smith. I think Matt Smith. Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah, Jeff Smith's the Bone guy.
Right. And this was a 5-issue. It came out weekly. It was basically, there's a character called Asmodel or Asmodel or something like that from the Grant Morrison JLA Zariel tie.
Mm-hmm. He's a renegade angel with a bull ring through his nose.
Takes over the Spectre, because at that time the Spectre didn't have a host, because Jim Corrigan, the old Golden Age guy who was Spectre, died, and he's causing havoc, and so they have to create this team called the Sentinels of Magic that go up against the Spectre. Meanwhile, there's another team that goes up to Purgatory to rescue or tell Hal Jordan that he needs to, maybe we could get him to help.
Well, actually, they went up trying to get Jim Corrigan to come back.
Oh, that's right.
And he said, sorry, guys, smell you later. I've done that thing. I'm up here in heaven now. And then there were a bunch of, fallen heroes, heroes that had gone bad and then died. So you saw, the ghost of Sargon the Sorcerer and the Vigilante, and Hal Jordan was there, and he's the one that they ultimately picked.
Right. They also, in the tie-ins, that happened a lot in the tie-ins, Aquagirl came back in an Aquaman tie-in, all these dead heroes came back to, revisit their
in
haunts.
zombie form, yeah.
So, as far as its connection to Infinite Crisis, it's very obvious, because Day of Judgment, well, now there's a Day of Vengeance.
Right.
Also involves the Spectre. And there's also another magical team that's involved with that, without
Yeah.
giving away too many spoilers.
Yeah. And half the members of that little magical team are the same people who were in the Sentinels
Right.
of Magic in
Right.
1999, and apparently they've forgotten that they used to belong to the old team.
You think I just thought it was just an obvious homage. Like, they obviously were tying. That's how I took it anyway. So I don't know. You could be very right.
Well, I took it as Bill Willingham not knowing his continuity, but that's neither here nor there.
It wasn't horrible, but again, it's another one of those earth-shattering.
And it also didn't have some elements from Underworld Unleashed. Neuron was in it a little bit, I thought, and things like that. So that kind of tied that in with that.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the one where I remember there was some hero that had sold his soul, but then he was able to get it back?
That was Underworld Unleashed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Blue Devil.
No, I thought it was like a guy, and that in
Oh.
order he wound up stabbing somebody and losing his soul again. But that's what,
Yeah, that's part of that. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, that's Day of Judgment here, I think, because it's like
Faust.
Yeah, he had to kill somebody to reignite the flames of hell, so he sacrificed his own soul for the greater good. And, yeah, then that character that he killed came back later, so it's all good.
What were you gonna say?
No, I was just thinking it was Underworld Unleashed. I'm thinking about where all the Flash rogues died, but they came back as well. That's the one thing that it's kind of irritating with comics is that they make these big things, they're dead, and then a couple years later, they're back.
The last one we want to talk about, they skipped the year 2000. There might have been some fifth week event, but I don't consider those major events. But the last major event before Identity Crisis was in 2001. They did Our Worlds at War. Jeff Loeb, when he came onto the Superman books, started to throw in a lot of these little plot things that really didn't go anywhere. You weren't sure where they were connected. He kept there was this overhanging threat that was coming from space, and it all played out in what's called Our Worlds at War. And it was 3 months of this huge conflict involving this character called Imperiex that looked like this weird manga robot cosmic. He almost looked like a Celestial,
That's
like a Marvel
exactly what I was
Celestial,
thinking,
right?
yeah.
Looks like a medieval warrior.
You were too damn good at that.
So, it actually, for me, I actually enjoyed the series. I thought it started out very strong. I thought it ended a little off, but I really enjoyed some of the Superman books that were involved, and they had all these specials, JSA special and Wonder Woman special and Flash special. Some of those specials were horrible, had no point to the story. I thought the Nightwing one was not that good, and there was a Harley Quinn one. We really need a Harley Quinn special for an event.
Well, yeah. Well, you're right. You just stick with the Superman books, and you pretty much have the entire story. There were a couple. Wonder Woman, I think, was pretty crucial to read, and so was the JLA one I thought was pretty crucial.
Yeah, the JSA one, if you're a JSA fan, you should definitely pick up, because it has a modern version of the All-Star Squadron, in which there's every single character with a connection to a Golden Age character.
Yeah, that was cool.
There.
These are collected in trades. The main story is collected in trades, I should say. The Superman story and some of the specials and some of the crossovers. It's 1 or 2 trades.
2.
Thank you. This one did have some lasting effects. There were some characters that died. There were that are still dead, surprisingly. Superman went through a whole guilt thing like he usually does every 5 years.
Baby.
And it was good. I thought it kind of restored my faith in events. The good thing, or the other thing that happened then, is for the next 2 years, there were no events. I don't know if Dan Didio was soon hired afterwards, and he was like, okay, you need to put a stop on these events until we get something going, because the next event is 2004-2005 Identity Crisis. So.
Well, did you ever mention Joker's Last Laugh?
No, see, I'm not counting those, because they're more like fifth week, or they're kind of...
It was kind of it wasn't something
It did cross over into a lot of the books. Yeah, but that to me, that Sins of the Youth...
New Year's Evil.
There was Silver Age. Those are kind of fringe events. Right? Yeah, we talked about that. I'm talking about major events. I skipped over that. Plus, it wasn't any good. So.
Which one, the Joker's Last Laugh?
Yeah, the Joker's Last Laugh.
I thought the only thing that was worth it was just the last couple pages of the last part with Nightwing. To me, that was the only thing that really made the book anything.
So if you ever want, because we're kind of caught up now, because I'm sure we'll talk about Identity Crisis in some other version, hopefully with, an interview maybe with Brad Meltzer or somebody, I don't know. But
now you're just like promising shit that we can't deliver.
Who knows? I'm just saying off
Well,
the
we
top of my
talked to
head.
him.
That's after we give all of our listeners $1 million.
If you want another version of all these events countdown, Chris at the Collected Comics Library has an episode, and I forgot to write it down. I'll put it in the show notes. He also has a rundown of like their major events and if they're traded or not, so you can get another version of what we just went through in the past couple weeks.
Plus, you have that Secret Files, the Justice League that pretty much
in the let's
them.
see what year is this. This is November 1998 cover date. Secret Files, JLA and Crisis. It talks about a lot of the events as well. They're just basically 1 page worth of like a synopsis and important things that happened in each one. It goes up to DC 1 million.
And it has my would-be wife on the back of it as well.
Who's that? Oh, Sarah Michelle Gellar. So, cool. That's our countdown. So, Infinite Crisis is, like I said, on Wednesday, and we will be having special episodes devoted monthly episodes devoted specifically to the event. So, we hope you're picking it up.
Because we're going to ruin it for you.
I'm going to have to read somebody's copy because mine will be coming at the
I'll
end
get
of the
enough
month.
for all of us, I'm sure.
Buy all 4.
50 different cover versions.
I
And
know.
3rd, 5th printings.
The good thing is, if DC decides to do like a 10th printing, Peter will have every single print.
That's right.
I know.
And then get the
Are
trade.
we,
Idiot.
Good.
are we wrapping up? I just wanted, because I had one more thing I wanted
Go
to
ahead.
throw in before we wrapped up. Quick hand over heart for an actor comedian who, as I was growing up, I loved in his many incarnations as Control Agent Maxwell Smart, as the voice of Tennessee Tuxedo, and for all the people in this room who are quite younger than I
Hey,
am.
I remember Tennessee Tuxedo and Get
So do
Smart.
Okay, I'm just saying.
And Inch Eye Private High.
Calm down.
Man.
This is my tribute. The voice of Inspector Gadget. Don Adams passed away. He passed away a couple weeks ago. I had wanted to talk about this on the last podcast that we did. And just he will be missed. He was a great comedic talent. I thought he was hilarious. Again, Get Smart. If you have never seen it, and you get a chance to see it sometime, just watch it because it's
Sweet.
definitely sweet. Don Adams, and it was a lot of people don't realize it was written by Mel Brooks and Buck Henry.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just a great spoof of the James Bond stuff. Hilarious, great cast.
I love the
Led by
whole,
Don Adams.
would you believe thing, Would you believe I was attacked by 400,000 well-armed army men?
I don't think so, Max.
Would you believe I was attacked by a platoon of well-trained Marines?
I don't think so, Max.
Would you believe I was attacked by an angry Cub Scout troop?
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but one of the courses I took at Kutztown was
Get Smart.
no, it was
101.
it was intelligence and investigation. And when we got to the intelligence part, the professor that was teaching knew different people from FBI and stuff like that. And one of the guys that I met actually has a lot of the props from different spy movies. But one of the things he could never get is what was that dome that used to come down?
The
when
Cone
they
of
tried-
Silence.
Cone of Silence. And he was making a mention to somebody in the CIA. That's the one piece I've definitely trying to get, but I can't find it anywhere. And here the CIA has it because they said, do you really think we'd let something like that get out there? So apparently, for whatever reason, they were working on either having it or basing it for something else.
What was the premise behind the Cone of Silence?
Well, it came down, and then when you would talk, no one could hear, what you were saying.
But it never worked.
Right,
That was the
exactly.
whole thing. He'd bring it down. It would be him and the chief, and he'd say, well, he's chief, we need the Cone of Silence. No, Max, not the Cone of Silence. We need the Cone of Silence. He'd bring it down. They'd start talking. The chief would get this perplexed look on. I can't hear you. And Max would be talking away.
There's something wrong with the code of silence.
Yeah.
I can't hear you. There's something wrong with the code of silence.
So, that was great stuff.
And that's so funny because I say that all the time. Like if it's noisy or I want to whisper something, and I say, we need the Cone of Silence. And some people at work will look at me like, what are you talking about? What's a cone of silence?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's like,
It's funny,
how do you not know that show?
The only thing I remember is the shoe phone and
The original cell phone.
And in the beginning, when he's walking and all the doors are coming down, or he gets his nose pinched in one, right? Doesn't one of them close on his nose or
at
something?
the end when he's walking back out,
Or he bangs into it.
He turns around because the doors are. As he walks in, the doors all close, and you just see boom, boom, boom.
Right.
Gets to the phone booth, zoop, he comes down. At the end of each episode, he came up and walked back out through the doors, and like the very last door didn't close, so he turned around, walked to the door, boom, it closed on his nose, and he turned around and he'd have his finger on his nose, and then that was the way the show ended.
That's actually the only thing I remember. Those two things I remember.
I had forgotten about the show opening, and now you describe it. I remember it again. But
Yeah,
I
so
love
Don
that
Adams, Don Adams, hand over heart, you will be
So
missed.
long, funny man.
now, what was your favorite character from the Tennessee Tuxedo series of cartoons?
It was always Chumley the Walrus.
Mine is Commander McBragg.
Oh, okay. Well, you're talking about everything.
That whole series.
Go Gophers.
Oh, I loved Commander McBragg.
Go Gophers always broke me the hell.
I was
up.
in the jungle that I was hunting the Bengal tiger.
Go,
It was like
Gophers.
Colonel Mustard,
But no.
I'm sorry, this is going over my head. I don't remember
go.
any of it. I remember
You never-
Tuxedo,
Go,
but
go,
I don't remember
go.
the
Yep.
Walrus.
Oh, him say go this way. I'm sorry. I went back into my childhood just for a second. Oh,
Look, fire!
I don't get that either.
I don't
get
know.
that
I bet
one.
he's old enough. That's when they were.
Oh,
okay.
Wheel.
They
Me
all
make
can't be A
wheel.
material, okay?
That's for
Okay,
sure.
it's like 11 o'clock, so
Yeah,
we're
all right.
dying.
So
Okay.
congratulations to all our contest winners, and make sure you send us your information, or we'll never send these things out to you.
That's right, yes.
And we'll keep the magazine subscription.
If you want to send us an email, it's comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. And visit our website, www.comicgeekspeak.com. Big thanks to Bob at GameCircuit.net for hosting our files. And thanks to the guys at UpAllNightGaming.com for hosting the website. Please vote for us at Podcast Alley and subscribe to us using iTunes. And if you want, you can get a t-shirt. They are $10, and that includes postage. You can find them on our website as well. And a reminder that we're brought to you in conjunction with WorldFamousComics.com. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time. See you next time.
What a piece of crap.
If anybody's still listening, that didn't work out the way I planned it.